Good evening. Welcome to our community meeting tonight at the Living School. My name is Julianne Lund. I'm the Director of Community and Governmental Affairs. Before we get started tonight, we do have interpretation services, so we're going to let them introduce themselves.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Viet Quinn Pham. I will provide interpretation services in Vietnamese. If you have need services, please raise your hand. I will come to you. Xin chào toàn thể quý vị, tôi tên là Viet Quinn, tôi là thông dịch viên. Tôi sẽ thông dịch cho quý vị trong buổi họp này. Nếu quý vị cần, xin cho tôi biết. Xin chân thành cảm ơn.
Good evening. My name is Lina Martinez, and I will be providing interpretation services for you tonight in Spanish. Buenas noches, mi nombre es Lina Martínez. Si usted necesita alguna ayuda para interpretación, estamos aquí para servirle.
Thank you, and thanks for joining us tonight. We're excited to be here at the Living School and kicking off our series in New Orleans East. So without further ado, please help me welcome our superintendent, Dr. Williams.
Thank you so very much. And I am super excited to be here today. You know, since I started this role a little over a year ago now, community engagement has always been a priority. And as we move through the upcoming year and launch a new Reimagined strategic plan, that's going to continue. And so tonight I just want to take some time to share some of our priorities and goals and really look forward to hearing from you. Let's roll. So first of all, I want to say that the name of our new strategic plan is NOLA PS Evolve. We're evolving, you know, we're changing with the times, we're addressing needs as they come, and we're making sure that we're being responsive to the scholars, our families, our CMO leaders, our principals, teachers, and the whole community as we think about what our needs are, and it is an evolution. And so this will be a 23 through 28 strategic plan, and of course this is pending board approval. And my expectation is that this will go to the Orleans Parish School Board in September at our board meeting, and seeking approval at that meeting, and at that point it will launch in October. So just want to kind of walk you through, and some of you may have heard me call this a reimagined strategic plan. So what does it mean to reimagine a plan? Before I started my role back in 2021, you guys remember 2021, we had a strategic plan that was board approved. And at that time, the superintendent, Dr. Henderson Lewis, he retired, and so super happy for him. And rather than move forward with that plan, knowing that a new superintendent would be coming into office the following year, the board basically put a hold on it and used it as a roadmap to guide us, knowing that we would still need a strategic plan. So when we think about reimagining, we want to consider the continuity of the previous plan, which was 21 to 25, and we also want to consider the expansion that this plan creates, as well as enhancements that this plan has. So in terms of continuity, and you'll be able to see all of this, and so I'm going to just point out a few pieces. We want to continue information sharing and continue to prioritize communication. And so you will see that lifted up as a priority in this plan. We also want to continue our work with our portfolio strategy, knowing that we want to ensure that high quality schools are top of mind and remain a priority as we move forward. Along with that, our charter school accountability framework, as well as external partnerships, and even family and community engagement. So these are areas that existed in the plan that would have been for the years 2021 through 2025, and they are remaining for continuity's sake, and because they're important. And so when we think about expanding, you know, the pandemic changed a lot for all of us. And when we consider just how much our world and our community has changed, even since 2021, we know that there are some things that we needed to make a little more robust in our plan. And so for us, that means really amplifying student voice and ensuring that our students have a seat at the table. As we're making decisions, we're making them with them, and not just for them. So we are amplifying student voice, and again, you'll see that as part of the plan. Also, really elevating mental health and trauma, making sure that we're digging deep in terms of the needs of our entire community, even making it wrap around for our families. Along with that, early learners, diverse learners, really looking at how we can support our teachers better. We're looking at all of this with a through line where we're advancing equity across all of these areas. And then in terms of enhancements, when we think about our strategic plan of action, adding that plan of action is an enhancement because we do want to ensure that it's clear that this is an actionable piece of paper, not just a plan on the shelf, but actions that we plan to take that will serve as our roadmap. And that means moving from just a strategic plan to a strategic plan of action. It also means that we're clearly defining our goals. We've redesigned the layout of the plan, and we're elevating the actions and outcomes from the previous plan. And then finally, also including that implementation timeline and making sure that we have strong key performance indicators to go along. When we think about a strategic plan, it's our commitment to this community. And for our new strategic plan, our Reimagined strategic plan, we have 4 commitments, and they are listed here. Commitment 1 is effective and connected communications. Commitment 2, high quality schools. Commitment 3, operational excellence. And commitment 4, student, staff, and community well-being. Those are the 4 areas that we want to hold true to as we think about the work that we're doing within this community. And so when we think about the evolution, again, as an overview, we want to just be real clear on what our commitment is for each of those areas, as well as what these mean that we believe. You know, as an organization, as a major part of our community, what do we believe? And then also, how will we prioritize? So this goes from being clear and consistent with our communication. It also includes providing quality school environments where we're really engaging the whole child. It means that we're looking at student, staff, and community well-being and collaborating with diverse stakeholders and making sure that voices are being lifted up as we do this work. And then for operational excellence, that we're driving the most healthy as well as sustainable outcomes for our district. And the priorities are listed there as well. I'm not going to go deep into them now because I'm going to unpack those as I go through this presentation. So let's start off, effective and connected communications. And you can see some of the goals are written here. Our aim is to be clear, consistent, and transparent, and centering the voices of students, families, educators, and community stakeholders. So that's the overarching aim of this commitment, to make sure that we're being transparent and consistent. We have a lot of opportunities to do this, and some of this involves us making sure that people understand who we are, what we believe in, through this strategic plan of action. And so we've got some goals here. I'm going to highlight just a couple of them. That first one is that we are going to ensure that stakeholder communication, all of our messaging, will be accessible for visual and hearing impairments and available in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. And that's the minimum goal. And that's a goal by 2028. I'm going to skip down to the one at the bottom. By June of next year, June of 2024, we will have a multi-channel stakeholder engagement plan that will be developed to support clear pathways for our students, as well as our families, schools, and communities, so that they can engage with us. And it's really important in terms of our communication that that engagement is part of it. Next, we have high quality schools. And when I think back to my ABC tour, y'all remember that, right? Dr. Avis's beignets and conversation. One of the things that I heard over and over again was around high quality schools, and rightfully so. This is our core work, and we absolutely want to ensure that we're being good stewards of the job that we have to do. And so our aim is to provide a quality school environment that prioritizes the needs of the whole child. And you're going to hear a lot about whole child when we think about quality schools. Because what that means is that, yes, we want to make sure that we're paying close attention to what's happening academically, but we also want to look at student wellness and well-being. And you'll hear a lot more about that as I go through the plan. But just hitting on a couple of our goals here. By next year, we will have a 5-year portfolio plan that's developed and ready for implementation for the 24-25 school year. And what that means is that we're really looking at how we can be more robust in how we offer teaching and learning within our schools. By June of 2028, at least 75% of students, staff, and families surveyed will report that students have access to opportunities to prepare them for college, career, and life. And we're going to do this through our Portrait of a Graduate. It's going to be our North Star to help guide that particular work. So really excited about this area because, again, when we think about quality schools, that's part of our core work. Next, we have staff, student, and community well-being. And I mentioned before that mental health and wellness is one of the areas that's an enhancement from our previous plan. So our aim is to collaborate with diverse stakeholders to drive the best outcomes for students, staff, families, and community. And one of the things I love about this particular commitment is that it includes community. You know, it's not just about what's happening in the walls of our schools, because we know that our schools are a microcosm of this community. And we cannot do this good work without partnering with our families and without being inclusive of the entire community. And so a couple of our goals here. By June 2025, the district will develop, launch, and implement a data bridge system for the management and progress monitoring of student attendance. We hear a whole lot about chronic absenteeism and truancy. And we know that we need our babies to attend today, to achieve tomorrow, and we will continue to prioritize attendance as part of our focus. By June 2028, stakeholder participation in NOLA PS sponsored family and community engagement opportunities will increase by 10 percentage points. So again, just wanting to ensure that that active engagement is part of how we do our work. And then our final commitment is operational excellence. And this is a biggie. You know, when we think about the work that we do, it's really important that we drive the most healthy and sustainable conditions to ensure long-term viability. A couple of things that we want to lift up here. By June 2028, we'll increase the utilization of surplus properties for community benefit as long-term and short-term purposes. And so what that means is that, you know, we have buildings, you know, and how can our buildings help support some of the community needs? You know, for example, when I talk to our scholars, they oftentimes talk about there not being things to do. And I would argue maybe it's just not the things they want to do, right? Because we know we've got lots of things to do in our community, but how can our facilities help support that? You know, what are some things that we can do to help with outcomes in terms of engagement after school and on weekends for our scholars? By January of 2025, we'll develop, launch, and implement a data dashboard for real-time historical and trend data. And you're hearing me talk about data a few times because data will continue to drive our outcomes. And it's really important that we stay focused on what the data say so that we're making decisions that are aimed at the problems that we're trying to solve. You know, one of the things that I always say is if we don't use data, then how do we know we're solving for the right problems? And some of you have probably heard me say, in God we trust, all others bring data, because it really does matter in terms of how we solve problems. So those are our 4 commitments, and you know, when we think about what this means in a comprehensive strategic plan, it's really all about improving outcomes for our scholars. So I want to highlight a couple of the really innovative and strategic things that you're going to hear a lot more about throughout this year and into the future. And the first is our Portrait of a Graduate. This establishes a North Star on what scholars should exemplify upon graduating from high school. You know we have goals and aspirations to ensure that scholars are college and career ready. But what does that actually mean? What does it look like from one grade level to the next? And the Portrait of a Graduate gives us an opportunity to demonstrate that commitment to the whole child. And it creates alignment around district priorities and a unified focus for teaching and learning. And we have a guidebook that will be coming out on September 9th. And I'm excited about that because it will walk our teachers, leaders, and staff through what this means from one grade level to the next. It also helps support families in terms of, you know, how do I engage my young scholar or my teenage scholar around Portrait of a Graduate. So really excited about this work and what this can mean in terms of increasing leadership opportunities for our scholars, making sure they're healthy humans and that they are creative and critical thinkers. So you'll hear a lot more about this as we move through this year and beyond. Also, NOLA PS Cares. Now, CARES is our community access to resources and equity. And what this means is that we are prioritizing wellness, quality of life for the entire community. And there are 4 pillars that are a part of this. We've got literacy, and we know that there are state laws that mandate, and of course guidance from the state that teachers and leaders are required to do. But what does this mean for our entire community? What would it mean for us to ensure that we have a literate community? And so we want to make sure that literacy remains a priority as we move forward. Along with mental health. And again, this is one of the areas that's an expansion from the previous plan. I'm super excited about the work that we're doing with Children's Hospital, our partnership for Thrive Kids, and very grateful to the mayor's office as well as the city of New Orleans for that $10 million commitment so that we can ensure that our scholars and families are getting mental health support. Also, social justice. Think about what it would mean for our scholars to understand how to really dig into an issue, problem solve, and then actually come up with solutions. So we're excited about having some podcasts around this and other opportunities for our scholars to tell us what they think. What is their experience as being members of our community and being problem solvers within our community. And then, of course, workforce development, because at the end of the day, we do want our scholars to be workforce ready, whether they go straight to college or, like me, join the Army or go straight into the workforce. We need them to be prepared. And so this does require partnerships, like many of these areas, but working closely with our workforce development partners throughout the community, as well as higher ed partners from community colleges to colleges and universities for that. And if you've got questions or want to be a CARE ambassador, please reach out to us. NOLA PS Cares at nolapublicschools.com is the email address for that. NOLA PS Cares at nolapublicschools.com. We'd love to have you as a CARE ambassador and let us know what you think about what we're currently doing. And if you've got some ideas, we'd certainly love to dig into those as well. Also, a couple of other things that you're going to hear more about as we move through the coming months. The hub. So I have to tell you, a few months ago, I was in Caddo Parish in Shreveport doing a school visit with the superintendent of Caddo Parish. And they had an amazing facility that they called the Harbor. And it's basically a one-stop shop for families to get all things wraparound services. And so we want to do the same here. And theirs is the Harbor, ours is the hub. It doesn't exist yet, but we are in the planning process. And we're going to begin by really utilizing our Mahalia Jackson facility, which is already a family resource center. So what would it look like for families to be able to get supports that they need in one stop? And so you'll hear more about that. And again, this is part of NOLA PS Cares. So if you're interested in being a CARE ambassador and helping us with this, we would certainly love to hear your thoughts on this. The Mental Minute campaign, we introduced this, launched it at Bricolage a few weeks ago. And the goal is just to make sure that we are normalizing talking about mental health. We know that many of our scholars, as well as our family members, teachers, leaders, staff, deal with anxiety, deal with depression, deal with anger, emotions. And what does it mean to really understand how to center yourself, how to regulate that in a way where you're making better decisions, you're building stronger relationships. And so the Mental Minute will include, or does include, a toolkit. We'll continue to provide resources throughout the year, and we welcome any of our fitness and wellness gurus out there if you've got some tips, or if you want to do a PSA for us about the importance of mindfulness and the importance of really understanding what it means to center yourself, then we certainly would enjoy working with you. This is a partnership that we developed with the Blairisms, and the campaign is really all about bolstering mental health and wellness. And what does it mean, again, to normalize that so that it's a conversation that we can have without shame? That's something that there's still a stigma around mental health, and we want to do as much as possible to just completely dissolve that stigma. We also have our advisory committees, and many of you may have been either a part of it or knew about these from last year. We do have a QR code here, and so if you're interested in an opportunity to be at the grassroots level of many of these opportunities and goals and strategies that I've mentioned, then certainly sign up by using the QR code, and this is for students, and we'll have wellness committee as well as junior communicators as far as the advisories for students. And then we also want community, our family members, as well as our teachers to be a part of these advisories. Because it's, again, important that when we think about the work that has to be done, we want to do it in partnership and in collaboration. And the advisory councils are a big part of helping me to get a clear understanding of what needs are so that we can, again, make sure that we're solving for the right problems. And then a couple of other things that you'll hear a lot about in the coming months. The Joyful Educator Collaborative. Some of you may have heard me say that this year is the year of the teacher. And y'all, I cannot tell you how much I love and value our teachers. They are unsung heroes, and the work that they do is so extremely important to improving outcomes, not only for our children, but for our community. And they deserve to be celebrated, and they deserve to be valued and appreciated. And so the Joyful Educator Collaborative is an opportunity for us to do just that. These will be monthly convenings that will begin next month, and the whole purpose is to give teachers some space to create a sense of community amongst themselves and their peers, for mentorship and coaching, and just for, again, to show how much we value and appreciate them. And one of the opportunities that teachers, if you're listening, you've got a couple of more days to sign up to be one of our Rockstar Leads. Because it's really important that as we're planning these events, that teachers are planning them. You know, I say we, but I need to hear from our teachers to know what those needs are, from everything from the location that you may want to have it to the types of food or music that you may want at events, and certainly any specific needs around coaching and getting details and intel on different strategies that may enhance your practices. So the Joyful Educator Collaborative will begin next month, and the Rockstar Lead application is out now. You can check our social medias. You can email Elliot Ferran at eferran@nolapublicschools.com if you have any specific questions about either one of those, because we would certainly love to have you as part of the team. And now, it's also an important time for us to think about election time is coming up. And first of all, I want to encourage everyone to register to vote. And we will have some voting campaigns for our young people to get registered. And I'm super excited to partner with several organizations from around the city and the community to make sure that our young people get registered and get a chance to vote. I still remember the first time I got to vote in a presidential election. It's monumental. We have to set the example for our scholars as it relates to that. And you know, for this year, time to renew our millage, and this is on the October 14th ballot. And it's not a new tax, and it's just an opportunity for us to ensure that we're preserving our building. So that'll be coming up on October 14th. The main thing I want to encourage you is to, if you've got young people in your life, get them registered to vote and get them to the polls so that they can vote. I want to thank everyone for listening, and I know we've been streaming live. I'm not sure if we have any questions or not. If we don't have questions right now, then you're certainly welcome to drop your questions in the comment box, and we will continue to monitor that. And we also have a QR code here if you want to give us any feedback. Because one of the things that's really important from this is to get feedback from the community about the strategic plan. And I do think we have one question from the audience.
Sure. Dr. Weed, first of all, on behalf of Councilman Oliver Thomas, I want to thank you for bringing your tours to New Orleans East and particularly District East. Really appreciate that. We just partnered with Bernard Playground, also with Nord, as well as New Orleans Saints and Wastrel a couple of months ago. They came out and it seems as if whenever Wastrel comes to a town, they pick up an area and they try to partner with it. They called Councilman Thomas's office and picked Sam Bernard Playground and Lower Ninth Ward, and they painted the playground and redid the entire park. But while we were there, we noticed that it's right next door to the old Ellison Elementary site that's been vacant for a long time. Edison, as a special place in my heart, I went to Edison a long, long time ago. And someone came up with an idea, and actually Brian E. Cannon was actually with us and came up with it. And we think it's a fantastic idea. What we'd like to do is do a CEA between Nord and the school board, and to take those two parcels of land and make that a super park for the lower ninth ward. When he came up with the idea, we all got very, very excited. I've had a chance to talk with Ted White, I think, who was the district representative here. We've talked to Ms. Lily Eames about it, and had to talk to you, so I'm glad you're here all this evening. We think it's a phenomenal idea. The lower ninth ward is extremely underserved, so whatever we can do to try and make that happen, let us know that. I apologize for Councilman Thomas not being here. As most folks know, Councilman Thomas' mother passed on Sunday morning. So he's with the family putting that kind of thing together. So please keep the family in prayer. But it's what we definitely like to do is let us know how we can put that together.
I absolutely love the idea of having a park in the lower ninth ward. So let's find some time to meet, and I'd love to hear more about the thoughts and plans that you've already been discussing, because that would be such a benefit to our community. So yeah, that sounds like an amazing idea. And you mentioned the Pelicans and the Saints.
Yes.
I do want to give a shout out to Larry Nance Jr., who is sponsoring our collaborations for the Joyful Educator Collaborative. So super grateful for him for sponsoring those convenings. And with that said, we've got a lot of great things happening within our school district and community, and we have challenges that we're addressing, and we're actively addressing those, but we cannot do it alone, and we do need to be held accountable. Let me say that. We do need to be held accountable, and my expectation is that the community will do that. So, board meetings are, of course, our public opportunity to share a lot of information and to hear about the policies that the board is deliberating on or passing. But then again, if you want to join one of our advisory councils, that's always a great way. And if there's another way that you want to be involved, y'all, please go on the Padlet, because in no way are we looking at this as an ending, like, as if it's all-inclusive and only includes these things. So if there's another way that you'd like to be involved that we have not made available, then definitely let us know. Just like with the ABC tours, I was available to come out and speak to groups and so forth, and certainly willing to do that. And we've got team members who are also willing and able to do that. So by all means, hold us accountable.